A warm and inviting living room is fully decorated for Luminalia, with the lamp lit, burning brightly, on the small table at the center. The peace of the tableau is interrupted when Cassandra, mid-twenties and wearing a holiday robe, pops up from behind the couch. We quickly learn that she is desperately searching for something as we see her scour the living room with a determined look on her face. Pillows are tossed to the floor, rugs are lifted, and she even checks under the sleeping flat cat. No luck. Drawers are searched, cabinets flung wide, containers opened and emptied. Where could it be? Cassandra runs a hand through her hair, exasperated. It's then that her partner enters the room. From their shocked expression, we finally reveal the full extent of the chaos that Cassandra has caused. The idyllic living room from the beginning, is now in shambles. Cassandra looks suitably embarrassed about the mess she's created, but her partner just knowingly shakes their head and with a smile. Putting a hand on Cassandra's shoulder, they point to the corner of the room overlooked in the earlier search. There, high on a shelf, we catch a glimpse of shiny wrapping paper. Reaching up, Cassandra pulls down the hidden Luminalia gift and eagerly unwraps it, revealing the familiar green package underneath. A huge smile spreads across her face, and we see what she has been so intently searching for. A pristine package of Ringalings. Eyes closed, she bites into one of the sweet, crumbly, jammy biscuits. Pure bliss washes over her expression as she savors this classic treat. Ringalings, a holiday favorite too good to keep hidden. The Ringalings logo superimposes over the happy couple enjoying their traditional late-night snack together. Inside a bustling shopping plaza, a happy shopper steps out of a busy clothing store, carrying bags from multiple stores overflowing with wrapped Luminalia presents. The results of very successful shopping day indeed. This holiday season, give a gift that not only your whole family will appreciate. We follow the shopper as they move through the plaza, passing elaborate holiday displays and enticing decorated storefronts. But one you're sure to be thankful for. However, rather than turn into any of those alluring stores, the shopper instead heads straight for a nearby Empire Health Services Center with a large Imprint scans available here sign. That's right, the perfect gift. This Luminalia is an up-to-date Imprint scan. A friendly nurse explains a terminal to the shopper, who happily selects options from the screen showing how easy and fun the imprint process is. Not only does a current imprint protect you from excessive emotional distress and potential memory loss during the regeneration process, we see the shopper leaving Empire Health Services, having received their scan only to be greeted by their loving family, who runs up to hug them. It ensures your family can look forward to spending time with the best possible version of you, no matter what happens. The family, united and happy, joyfully laugh together. Empire Health Services. Better care for all. A bright blue planet hangs in space. It looks familiar, like dozens of other worlds you might have visited before. It seems every day our universe gets a little bigger. Sharp mountain peaks gleaming white with freshly fallen snow cut into the crisp blue sky. We can hear the cold wind howling. And those we love drift farther apart. The peace of the mountains is broken by the faint roar of a powerful thruster. We can see a plume of snow in the distance as someone dashes through the mountain range at high speeds. Thankfully, the 2953 Mustang is here to bring you all back together. We are rewarded with a close-up of the Consolidated Outlands Mustang Alpha in all her glory, gracefully speeding along the snowy mountaintops. Carefully crafted and tuned to perfection, the Mustang offers unparalleled responsiveness and agility, effortlessly paired with a ride quality beyond all expectations. Showing off its deft flying skills, the Mustang darts easily in and out of the conifer tree line. Inside the well-designed cockpit, the pilot, wearing a festive Luminalia sweater, enjoys every moment. The Mustang from Consolidated Outland. Fly a little faster, glow a little brighter, and get a little closer with those you love. The ship lands on a small, freshly Pioneer-built outpost nestled in the valley with stunning vistas, joining a Mustang Beta, Mustang Delta, and a Mustang Gamma, which have already landed on site. From our solely to yours. Enjoy our special Luminalia financing package at select Terra dealerships. With their Mustangs perfectly parked nearby, our family of pilots sit together at a cozy fire pit in front of a Luminalia decorated outpost, enjoying a hot mug of Sloma as snow lightly falls. A moment of togetherness made possible by Consolidated Outland. This concludes the 3 adverts of And Now a Word from Our Sponsors, Advert Block 1213 2952. You can tell that these are all Luminalia themed. They're like little short stories put together. I gotta tell you, I took this one on because it forced me to kind of play the game of doing the voiceover plus doing a storytelling in one. And I tried to pick 2 voices that were extremely different, so it made it easier for me to jump in and out of them. That tends to be one of my skill set. I'm not like a master of one voice. I tend to be good at jumping around though, and I can kind of channel those things. So this was a fun, to me, this was like playing Beat Saber, basically, trying to cycle back and forth, between the red and the blue boxes type of thing, and trying to really nail them down each time. I guess I passed the Beat Saber test if it was on hard mode, not on a higher mode, but I did okay. I only have a few edits in this to try to nail it down. But so if you hear it's a little rough in certain spots, just understand I'm going with it because I'm kind of playing like a Beat Saber song in my head while I'm doing these. Having fun with it. But whatever gets you through them, and I had a lot of fun. I think the Empire Medical one in particular, which was Advert 2, was a really nice one. I love that ending with the do it and update your imprint for your regeneration because of it's best for your family. And by the way, this is something that's going to become more important in the future. So changing gears a little bit and talking a little bit, I guess the official commentary will start here. With Advert 2 out of the 3, go figure, right? But the regeneration process is very important, because you want to make sure you have your, right now in the verse, you want your medical clone to be set up in regeneration facility, I should say, to be set up in the location you desire the most. So if it took you a long time to go catch up with your buddies all the way out on Microtech and New Babbage, or the outposts in different parts of the system that are on Lagrange points, maybe your friends operate in mining operations in a certain spot, make sure to update your regeneration location to those places. Understand that virtually every outpost has medical nowadays, especially the larger ones. All the planetary landing locations have them, the large planetary landing locations. And I think that that's going to continue to filter downwards as you go on. Just a reminder for newer members and returning members of the community, if you set up a regeneration location to your friend's Carrack or your friend's 890 Jump or some other huge ship like that, understand that if they log out and you guys come back later, that regeneration, you need to make sure that's up to date again on that ship. It'll revert back to your original location. So if some reason you die or you're forced to backspace due to a glitch, which thank goodness that's happening less and less, at least for my kind of gameplay, I can't comment on everyone's. Basically, you would regen all the way back at that city or that outpost that you last set up before you went to your friend's Carrack or 890 Jump, or the future 600i changes, hopefully. So, on the Explorer model. Let's talk a little bit more about the regeneration process in the future. So, in the long term, there will be concerns about having your imprint be up to date. So this is something that maybe the game will do automatically each time you log in. Or it may require you to actually go back to a location and update your imprint so you lose less memories. This has actually an interesting gameplay implication that we're going to have to flesh out, in the sense that your character over time will gain like small additional skills, like have slightly higher endurance, slightly higher strength, those type of things, to try to give you more attachment to your character and give it more weight, for you to value your character's development. And I would be curious if the imprints being up to date will help you maintain those levels, or at least keep more of those levels each time you pass. And remember, it's not going to be a daily occurrence to die in StarCitizen unless you're literally going to fight in a combat area, like a first-person shooter or smaller ships, in a fighter or something like that, constantly. You shouldn't be dying constantly. And when you do in those scenarios, an org or the NPC type situation should be able to support you very well. On the edges of space, on the other hand, having an up-to-date imprint might be a little more difficult, especially if everybody keeps blowing up the comms arrays so you don't know they're coming, or you don't know their status as a wanted felon. It's going to be a little more interesting with sex status changes. And imprinting is just going to be one of those common things that is going to be very, maybe even a luxury in places like Pyro, being able to respawn at a place that's safe enough to be able to talk to the ATC, exit from your hangar and not get blown up again. You may want to be very careful where you keep your imprint, probably friend ships, for example. And hopefully more, when multi-crew gameplay gets more and more implemented, it will be where you don't just wake up and you're not on your friend's ship anymore and your imprint's not on the ship. It'll most likely be, if you wake up on that ship, you literally wake up out of your bunk, grab your gear, jump in a Pisces or whatever ship you have available to you, and your imprint will stay on that ship. So I'm very curious how that's going to look once that ship despawns, though. Will it revert back, which is probably the case. Okay, so I beat that dead horse, but I thought that was a really cool one. That the little tidbits of lore tend to bring in a lot of interesting discussions. And I've said this before, and I'll say this 50 more times. CIG lore team tends to curate these type of creations and curate older things and create new ones like this, to try to embrace what's going on at the moment, and also give us hints of where CIG wants to take us. And these three are good examples. Luminalia is a big event. Happy holidays, by the way, to everyone. Happy Luminalia in game, and happy holidays in real life to you and your families and your friends. And happy Luminalia Day to you and your org. Let's go back to Advert 1, and what we see there is a bit of a present hunt by Cassandra and her very understanding partner in this situation, and finding those sweet treats, the Ringalings. I don't think I've ever seen that snack in game yet, but I can guarantee you that if it's in the lore, there will be sweet, crumbly, jammy biscuits named Ringalings eventually. That's probably something we'll see if they're not already in the game. If they are already, I apologize. I think I can name every burrito. I know most of the burgers now, but and a lot of the other wonderful snacks and stuff on the cheaper end, as well. But I in the snack bars and stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen Ringalings. So yeah, I guess I'm not cultured, or maybe they're from a certain place. That's another thing that we're probably going to see more of, is that certain food types are going to be from a certain system, popular in different system, exotic, if you will, in that system, of more expensive, exotic in other places. That's going to be kind of a common occurrence. They talked about with the Endeavor, that the Endeavor has those giant domes, up to 4 of them if they're fully rigged up, to grow plants that can only grow in space near stars and grow in all these different environments in space. And one of the things that I've heard discussed is, well, there's going to be some places that are better for that than others, and certain types of things you want to grow amongst certain specific kinds of stars. I can't help but extrapolate from that when you have outposts that can do farming, it's going to be the same situation of, okay, well, if I have a dying star, it's not going to be able to grow this specific stuff, if anything. And when I have a star that grows too much light, I need special requirements to not kill my plants, even if it's breathable atmo, and it's not going to freeze my plants. It's that may be too much, so I can only grow on a smaller scale, something that would be then considered exotic because it can only grow in small greenhouses. And of course, this falls into the category of if a system does not have a breathable atmo on at least one planet, and it's not in a good temperate zone, suddenly now food in general is exotic. and more of the protein bars and other established shipped in products that are good, solid foodstuffs that don't expire are going to become the lay of the land. So having something that's fresh, like organic greens that you see in a lot of the different planetary landing locations now, will be maybe something that you only get to see once a year if you live in one of those systems, an in-game type experiment. Okay, so if we're going to take it this far, I guess I could take it at least to the part where I think that they're actually trying to go with this topic. It's not about Ringalings. It's about the presents and that the characters are enjoying their present hunt as well. And that bright colored gift that was found in the corner, the shiny wrapping paper, is just like us players searching all of these locations on the planetary side and larger outpost for our gifts, which can then be turned in at the trade centers, the TDCs and trade hubs, trade terminals. I think this is really fun. I think it's really cool to see a lore built into a in-game event, and hope to see Ringalings in my future in the game. Reminds me a lot of a real life snacks. Okay, advert 3, final one. A bright blue planet hangs in space. It looks familiar, like dozens of other worlds you might have visited before. Well, okay, let's take a look about this a little bit. We're talking about a car or aircraft or boat style advertisement, right? For like an exotic or something fun, something exciting like a sports car, I guess is the most common. But this is nothing new. We saw Silas do his advertisements for the Mustangs when they first rolled out. And we have seen some previews for them. We've seen them in different StarCitizen as official videos covering the changes to the Mustangs as they kind of got, I would call it like their HD, but I guess in modern terms, it's like their golden pass. The 2953 Mustang is looking good. It's having fun. The Mustang Alpha in general is a great little ship. I'm sure people before, yes, I know there's differences in the Mustang series before everybody jumps on me. With the Mustang Beta being the space RV, if you will, that has living quarters in the back with a bed and some hygiene and some food area. Mustang Delta being the combat variant. Mustang Gamma being your racer, if I remember right. Let's double check that. You usually don't get to hear this, so if you made it this far, you caught me. Once I'm actually running the StarCitizen wiki to make sure. Because I'm trying to be extremely careful with that type of stuff. But yeah, the Delta's the fighter, the Gamma's the racer. So I gotta tell you, to me, the Mustangs are great little ships. The Beta is a standout because it gives you that bed. It gives you a lot more versatility for if you only have a tiny fleet. I think they're all great little ships, and I'm fine with this being an advertisement. I'm fine with it being a family getting together all in their own little Mustangs of different kinds. Be kind of funny to find out if the father was in the space RV or something and mom's got like the racer or something. Be kind of fun to see like something turned on its head, like the young folks don't get the racer, But yeah, I think this is fine. I don't really have much to extrapolate from this. I would question that a Mustang Alpha offers unparalleled responsiveness and agility effortlessly paired with a ride quality beyond all expectations. I can confidently say I don't think I've ever seen a bad ride quality on a Mustang, but unparalleled responsiveness is not something I think of when I think of a Mustang Alpha. It's not bad, but it's got decent agility, but there's other craft that are very, very nimble, and light fighters in general have so many thrusters that are overbuilt for their class Now, granted, it could all change with the master modes coming up soon. Yeah, I know. But um, the changes that we have seen, light fighters tend to be extremely maneuverable, and that's not even getting into the M50, which technically is an interceptor, but really is a racer. All that X1 stuff. When you start getting into the rideables, there's a lot of things that have unparalleled responsiveness and effortless agility. So I would caution on that. That is advertising talk. And of course, the elephant in the room that I finally want to mention is a small, freshly Pioneer built outpost nestled in a valley with stunning vistas joining their ships. Very cool for multiple reasons. Gotta love them vistas. That's an RLM joke. Ships land on the small, freshly Pioneer built outpost. Do I believe a Pioneer is going to be landing somewhere in the next few months and landing and making outposts? No, probably not. But this gets me excited again about the Pioneer. I recently picked my Pioneer back up for the original Warbond variant, I think it was, whatever. I'm very excited about this ship. I love the idea of having a giant 3D printer. As a reminder, it was reconcepted for basically building parts on site and being far more efficient than trucking in those parts or buying them from another party and then taking them to the site on giant container vessels. But it is not necessarily like you just press a button and it builds a small building and like its original idea, and then the whole ship has to pick itself up, basically unpack, repack up, and then move and a few feet over, land again, and build another building. Instead, it's going to have the equivalent of assembly line still in the middle, but it's producing like a piece of, as I understand it, this could change, like a piece of the roof, a piece of the walls, a piece of the foundations, piece by piece by piece. And these assembly lines, satisfactory style, are just pumping out this material, and then you take that material and you place it down. It will still need logistics support. The vessel can carry a significant amount of building material, that basically the materials to actually put this together, but we're still talking about a need, if you're going to be doing larger outpost operations when those are finally supported, which will probably be down the road after the Pioneer first comes out. You will need to have like different transports that are Atmo rated that can come in and deliver the goods, or have a final mile solution. Maybe a pair of rafts taking all the resources from up in Atmo, up above in lower Earth orbit, low planet orbit, and then flying it down through Atmo and landing, dropping the crates off next to the Pioneer. Pioneer has its own little ships, basically, and folks that are basically bringing the resources in and pumping out more and more and more stuff. It is meant to be an efficient builder. It is not a self-sufficient builder on set for small scale. And the way they wrote this is very interesting. The ship lands at a small, freshly Pioneer-built outpost. I would not be shocked if CIG is still working on the final ideas of how those smaller outposts are going to be iterated, and I would strongly suspect if the Pioneer... I do not believe the Pioneer will be brought in before it can build an outpost of some type, even if it's just one container building or something. And I also believe that the rumored MCV is going to be eventually brought in, and I strongly believe that it is going to basically be able to build like the equivalent of a survival hut or something like that. I think that there's an entire gameplay sustainment loop that needs to be in the game for players to be able to build together and have a reason to not want to just knock each other's stuff over. And having orgs having these type of vessels that can produce at least small structures that can give them that holding power. Like, yes, even if an A2 can bomb them occasionally or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's only got a few 100K worth of mining crystals and some food and water and rations, but that right there is next to an expensive cave, and we can use this as our holding point while we move in and out of this location. And this is where our org is going to start building. And then we're going to go build another one over at the other cave we just discovered. Or we're going to build another one as a security holding location at the front of one of these lucrative resource nodes. So I see it as something where you will start seeing players be able to band together and make it really, really the next level of that type of seeing the fruits of their labor working together through these type of small outposts. So I'm very excited to see that. Additionally, because you have 4 ships landing at this small, freshly Pioneer built outpost that are Mustang sized, I would extrapolate that if I really, really read into this beyond probably what's fair, to be fair, that a small Pioneer built outpost in the early days will be able to have enough room for landing for Mustangs, unless the Mustangs are just sitting in the dirt or in the dust of the location, and they're just walking in or standing outside of the outpost buildings. However, what we see at the small outpost when you go to deliver things all over the place on the moons and on the planets of Stanton is landing pads. I believe that a decent-sized landing pad, even on a tiny facility, is going to be critical when you have a couple org mates landing at the same location. It's not just about the fact it's cleaner and it makes it smoother. You have a flat surface, so your Hercules-class ships, their elevator actually puts out correctly, and you don't have the ramp of any of the ships trying to open up and, knock over the ship or something like that or damage itself. It's also about practicality on safety and moving around in groups. Those landing pads have lights, and those landing lights help guide players in, and it helps give them a defined location where you're supposed to form up. You don't have to constantly put down a beacon and explain, go to the west, 20 meters, that's where I'm going to meet everybody. You literally just have a outpost pad. Okay, everybody form up at the outpost. You innately will know. All your newcomers will know to land at that location. It also gives you a nice little security blanket. When there are turrets in the future for outposts, you will be able to centralize your defenses between the buildings and the landing location. So you don't have to worry about, do I have this huge defensive network? No, you don't need all that. Your anti-air systems need to be able to protect the pads, and they need to be able to protect the building. And that's as far as you need to worry about for now. Once again, if some specialized large ship designed to just break outposts and it's willing to pay enough and you don't have any defenses, so be it. But that's going to be pretty rare, especially as we keep expanding the populations of the servers and we keep growing the size of the world, the verses that we live in. So when Pyro is rolled out, we'll have significantly bigger place to play, and I think a lot of people are going to be very low profile, not letting each other know exactly where they're at. You'll probably have to scan them out just to find them, let alone then go find out what they're doing, what they're in, where they're at, where their outpost is, then come all the way back with an A2. It's not going to be worth it. Maybe an A1 when that's finally out. But I think this is going to be interesting that outposts to me allow people to live out on the fringes. And I think a lot of players want to have, maybe not that all the time, but at least have that opportunity and that experience and be able to go on these excursions and adventures. And that is all the stuff I can extract from these 3 small adverts done by the CIG Lore team. This was an original post by CIG Lore. A word from our sponsors, advert block 12132952. Thank you, Lore team. More of this. And to all of you, happy Luminalia. Fly safe.